The number one thing on this channel for me is conversation, talking with you guys in the comments. And while I usually like to try to stick to books or maybe sometimes TV or what I'm watching or something like that, a lot of things that I don't do are device reviews, but people are still talking a lot to me about that Kindle video that I made like 6 months ago and asking me questions about how I feel about it now. So since this channel is all about conversation, I'm going to give you guys a quick update on how I feel about the Kindle 6 months later. Hey, what's up, bookworms? Mike here again today to talk about the Kindle a little more, particularly the Kindle Paperwhite, because that's the one that I can give you the hands-on review for. Now, something that I like to do on this channel is just simply talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. Yes, I like to talk about books nonstop, about what I've read, what I want to read, and then talk with you about it in the comments. There is a video I made 6 months ago when I was talking about making the switch from the iPad to the Kindle Paperwhite. I'll put it up here in case you missed it that first time. It still gets so much conversation, and the biggest question is, well, how do you feel about it now that you've had a few months to play with it? 6 months later, I've got a lot to tell you guys about it. I'll go ahead and tell you up front, I love it. I treat this thing kind of like a third child. As in, like I never go anywhere without it. I always have it with me. That's how much I use it. It hasn't like replaced paper books for me or anything like that, but there's a lot of things about it, and honestly, like a child, there are a lot of pros and cons. Definitely the pros vastly outweigh the cons, but I kind of want to give you guys an update outside of just, yeah, it's good, you should get it, because I know there are still a lot of people that are on the fence before they spend that much money on a device. Now, if you remember in that video, my whole reason for making the switch from reading off of an iPad to a Kindle Paperwhite was eye strain. I was having really, just my vision was degrading really bad, for more reasons than just I'm 41 years old. I know that was a very popular comment, and I can't argue with it. I'm not going to hide, how old I am. Obviously, I know your eyes are going to deteriorate a little bit, but it was just like so rapid, and that was why it really kind of just startled me about why it was going on. And while there is some degradation going on in the eyes, yeah, my eye strain is completely reduced. Significantly. Like even my eye doctor's like, okay, so you can read, these bottom 3 rows now, from when I made the switch to Kindle Paperwhite. So obviously the very first thing that I'm going to tell you in pros, let's do the pros first because people want to hear the good stuff before they hear the bad stuff, right? The eye strain obviously is the big one. I read a lot in the dark after my wife's asleep. Don't want to wake her up. This has a brightness setting. I keep it on about the middle setting for the front light. And because it's not backlit, it's front lit. Now there is a big difference there, but it's not an LED screen, so it's obviously going to be a lot better for your eyes. But like I said, I keep it on about the middle brightness. It's less bright than my iPad was, so my wife appreciates that, obviously, while she's trying to sleep. But and yeah, eye strain is almost gone. So vision has improved in every way, about as much as it's going to improve at this age. It's not like I'm not saying there's like a miracle or anything, but I think the less is more thing. You're using a tablet a lot less in something that's actually designed for reading. Obviously, that's the biggest pro that I have out of all of this, is that was my goal, was to reduce eye strain, and it has done that. It's done that in every way. There's some other things that I learned about it since that video that I'd like to talk about in the pros. I like that you can add your own fonts to it. It's very simple. When you plug it in with your USB to your computer, you can download fonts at just like dafont.com or anything like that you want, and you just click and drag them into the fonts folder on your computer, and it's very, very simple. And then you go into your settings and you can change it. The thing is that like no matter how good those fonts look on your computer screen, when you get them on your device, sometimes they don't look that good. Like I had this one like almost kind of cursive-ish font that I liked a lot. And then whenever the book that I was reading that in would have like italics, it looked terrible. And so it doesn't always work out, but I think that you can find some that you like. Because I'll be honest, the stock ones are kind of boring. So if you're okay with boring, if you're reading, obviously you're just going to read a standard book. You're going to have all those normal looking fonts, that don't look anything crazy. There's nothing special about that, right? So if you're used to that, that's cool. If you want to change it up, you can. I messed around with it, and then I ended up going back to one of the custom ones. I'm going to be honest with you. So it's a nice little bonus, though. The biggest thing, obviously, is that you can convert, your files that you already have. If you didn't have a Amazon device before, if you're worried you have an EPUB or you have a PDF or even a Word document, you can convert anything to go in this. Look, not just books, using Calibre, that software. And I'll put the link to Calibre in the episode description if you need it. Great device, and it really can just convert anything to AZW3. That's the format. MOBI was the one that they used to use, but AZW3 really works well with this. But a lot of stuff that I'll do for like school, the documents that we get from teachers or PDF or in Word document, I just convert those over and I can read them off of this because I would rather read it off this than I'm going to read it off my iPad. Again, so it's more than just for books and stuff. The documents work really well too. And I love that it has like 3 dictionaries in there because that's great. That's obviously a really strong. If you're like me and you get with those authors who obviously got a new thesaurus and they say, hey, I got to see how many words I can fit in here. Just touch it and the word, and obviously the definition comes up. That's nothing special. I know that readers have been doing that forever, but it's still really nice that you don't have to have an internet connection for it. That's the coolest thing. When I went on a cruise, there was no internet connection, and the built-in dictionary still kind of helped me out if I was trying to figure out what exactly an author was trying to say with some word I had never seen before. And yes, even at this age, it does still happen. You still see words you've never even heard of before. The battery life is obviously a very big pro. I read on this thing constantly. I say a few hours a day, and I charge it every 3 weeks or so. There is something in cons I'll bring up with the battery life too. There is something that's a little quirk that I want to get to. Space is another one, and I don't just mean obviously how much space this takes up laying on your nightstand or anything like that. I'm talking about the hard drive space. This is 8 gig, and I thought, I don't know if that can handle my books. Guys, I have over 1,000 books on here. I still have like 7 gigs free. You're never going to run out of space on one of these things unless you're just putting comics on there or something that is just huge amount of space. And I've already said in that video, I don't recommend reading comics off this because they don't look good. It is black and white. But never going to run out of space. If you don't use Audible, you don't use audiobooks on or anything like that, it is Audible compatible. But I don't see a microphone jack or anything on this, so I don't know how that works. I don't listen to audiobooks. That's just something about me. I am not ADD while I read, but I'm very ADD while I listen, and I think that comes along with having kids. You learn how to ignore them when they're making a lot of noise. But I don't listen to audiobooks, so I can't really attest to that one. But yeah, but also physical space is great. Like I said, we took this on the cruise, and this thing can fit in your back pocket. If you have back pockets on your jeans or something like that. I took this thing with me everywhere on that cruise. If you're hitting the buffet for the 8th time, I don't know if you've ever been on a cruise, but it's really based around standing in line for food. And I just have this thing in my pocket and waiting in line, just pop it out, and I would read right there. To me, some people may be like, oh, that's kind of weird. I want to be the weirdo standing in line. Is it any weirder than looking at your phone while you're standing in line? Everybody looks at their phone while they stand in line, right? They can't even order a coffee without busting out their phone and looking, checking their email or something like that. So I don't see anything weird about that whatsoever. But, I'm a reader. It is what it is. Durability. This is a big one because, I bought this case that when I first got it, whatever. It's nicest case, but it's not like the strongest looking thing. It's not like I've got an OtterBox here or something like that. But one day I was reading it on the sofa and I fell asleep and it just started falling. And sure enough, boom, right onto our hardwood floor. And I thought for sure, I just broke it. Not a scratch. Nothing. Not a problem. So I'm going to give it a credit for durability because it was not a light fall. It sounded bad when it hit the floor, So it was a relief when I picked it up and saw, great, I don't have to buy another one because this thing is very, very soundly built. I already talked about being able to read it anywhere, but the screen reflection deal about how you can read it anywhere, you ain't got to have perfect light, no problems whatsoever. I can read this thing in the park with my kids, right in the sunlight, not a problem. You will be able to see this thing forever. Can't really see it when I hold it up to the screen because of my lighting, but you can see this screen just about anywhere. It's not a problem. You can always move an inch or two to the left or right and be able to find the perfect space for you. So yeah, unlike an iPad or a reflective screen where you have to have the perfect situation, the perfect shade, not a problem with this. And that helps out with being able to read it anywhere kind of thing. One of the last things that I really like, I'm very OCD about these things. Look at my bookshelves behind me. I don't like it when my books don't match and things like that. I like that it has for organization. You can create collections. Again, nothing groundbreaking, but it is a nice feature to have. I like to sort everything by author See if I can actually bring any of them up while you guys are waiting. See, I like to sort everything by author and put them in folders. So if it's a lot of these fantasy series I read that are, multiple books long, you can sort them by author and put them by series or anything like that. That really, really helps out, so you don't have to always use your search bar to find the book that you're looking for when you're like me and you've got, 4 digits worth of books sitting on this thing. But let's get into some of the cons here. There are a couple of things. And it's going to sound nitpicky because it is. I love this device, but it's not perfect. No device is perfect. There's always going to be some things that you don't feel quite, you feel like you could mix up with a couple other devices and make it perfect. For me, the sleep button is in a very weird place. It is on the bottom down here, and sometimes when I'm reading in bed, I like to rest it on my chest, and I'll turn it off. Again, it's a nitpick because it's off in 2 seconds, and it comes back on in 2 seconds. It just gets annoying after it happens about the third or fourth time in one night. So again, nitpick. I do wish that the sleep button was on the top. That would probably be a little better for me. I mean, you've already got the connection port down the bottom. Why do you need the sleep button down there too? It is kind of janky. And I don't know if that's a word that you guys understand. Janky meaning that it's kind of slow, kind of choppy. This isn't a tablet or a smartphone operating system. It is very slow to react. You will do this and it will think about it for a second. It's pretty good about turning the pages. I have a mindset to where it refreshes every 6 pages. It's a e-ink device, so it is going to have to refresh. But it is kind of janky. Don't expect a really super fast response rate. It's nothing that ruins the experience. Sometimes it will take okay, is it broken? Is it frozen? Because it'll take a good 8, 9, sometimes 10 seconds to bring up what you searched for or something like that. Again, I know this sounds like nitpicking, but I just feel like you should know. It is not super fast. It does not have that powerful of an operating system, but it does the trick. Another weird thing that I get, and this might just be me, I talked about how you can convert any file into the proper format, is every once in a while how you can pull up a book and you can go to your chapter selection page and they'll just randomly disappear. The chapter shortcuts will just run. I've been in books where I'm on page 450 of 700 and I want to jump back to a chapter and I'll pull up the chapter list and they're gone. They're just gone. And it's happened more than once where I'm like, okay, I don't think it's just my file or anything like that. It's something with the device. So I don't know what the heck that is, but it does happen once in a while. Usually I'll just restart the device and they're back. So I don't know. I don't know. It's just really, really weird. But it has happened to me more than once. I wish that there was editing from the device. Like sometimes you'll spell something wrong, or if you're like me and you want all of your cover art images to match the same size, something like that. I wish there was an adjusting thing on the device for that. And you didn't have to go into it on your computer or go edit it with Calibre, like I said earlier, to get them all to match. Again, that's a me thing. If you don't care about organization, or you're not OCD to where you need everything to match, it's not a big deal. But I hate when things are spelled wrong, and I wish that I could just go in here and do that. Another thing, like you'll delete a book and it's still there. It's in the cloud. So it'll still show on your device even though you deleted it, so you have to go into the Amazon device page to clear it out. I wish you could do that all just from the device. That really bothers me. And the last one, we already knew this, black and white. I knew this when I did the last review. Again, it's just a nitpicky thing. If you're like me, you like your cover art to match and all that stuff. It's nice to have those nice vibrant colors of the cover art and things like that. But again, this isn't a deal breaker. You can buy more expensive devices if it's that important to you. I said, you know what, I'll save the $150 and just get this one or whatever. But really, that's it. I hope this gives you kind of more of a clear idea of how I feel about this device. But again, I love it. I use it constantly. It hasn't gotten to the point, like I said, where it replaces print books for me or whatever. One of the things I said in that original video was that it was small. It felt small in my hand because I was used to reading hardcovers, and I said this would be like reading a paperback. So I'm going to give the comparison here. It's actually smaller than a paperback, but with paperback I feel like you still got to read it with 2 hands to hold it open. You can really be the lazy person who does this and then you're doing this the whole time or whatever. I like that you can just read this sucker with 1 hand and you get used to it so quick just reading it with 1 hand. And at first I was holding it like this. I was like, why does my wrist hurt? And it's like, yeah, straighten your wrist, dummy. But once you just get used to holding it with 1 hand, it's great. Also, if you're like me, you read a lot in bed, this is much better if you fall asleep and it hits you in the face than this. This doesn't feel good when it hits you in the face if you fall asleep. So if you're like me and you like to read hardcovers, but not when you sleep and you're stupid enough to buy both the digital version and the hardcover version. There's a simple solution for you. So that's the biggest things I have about it. The next biggest question, I guess the final biggest question I get is, do you think this is the best e-reader out there? I think it goes like this. If you've got more money to spend, I'd probably recommend you go with the Oasis. If you have more money to spend, it is more expensive. It is bigger, but a lot of people like having those live buttons on the side instead of just touchscreen. If that's important to you, sure, go with the Oasis. To me, I thought it was too big. I didn't want... When I said this was too small, I meant this way. That one's kind of wider, so it feels almost like you're holding a tablet sideways. I didn't like that. I like being able to hold it with one hand. But if the bigger buttons are important, or the actual live buttons are important to you, and you just want the best device, hey, and you've got the money, go for it. I feel like this is the best e-reader for a moderate price. It's a middling price, because you can buy the stock Kindle, which doesn't look as good, doesn't feel as good in your eyes, isn't waterproof. And I'm not going to lie, I haven't tried the waterproof. I'm too scared. I'm too scared to put this thing near the water. I like it too much. So I haven't actually tested that one. But the thing about this is, if you look, just wait, man. If you're a Amazon Prime customer, they have sales on these things all the time. All the time I get emails about, Kindle Paperwhite, $30 off just today, for Prime members, stuff like that. If you aren't, wait for Prime Day. Prime Day usually happens in the States in June, and they sell these things like $50 off. I'm considering buying a second one in case this one ever breaks down on Prime Day this year, just because I like it so much. So if you are on the edge and you want it, but you don't mind waiting a couple more months, I'd wait for Prime Day, because I'm sure they're going to have a sale and you guys will be able to get it for a good dollar amount. But guys, it is an absolutely wonderful device. I love everything about it. I can't recommend it high enough. So I hope that this has answered all of your questions. Any other questions, please drop in the comments. Talk to me about you guys. I love talking to you guys about these things. And if you want to talk about any books, hey, check the channel out. Plenty of stuff. I'm sure I probably read it and you probably want to talk about it. So let's do that, and I'll talk to you guys in the comments.